Hello. This is like my 5th time refilming this because I can't talk about a script, and through all of my previous videos I've just been rambling on, so I'm going to try to make this very straightforward and get to the point. But basically this video for today is a little different than what I normally do. I've been waiting for a while now to film this because I've been waiting for my results back, but recently I got my animation portfolio results back. But surprise, surprise, I got rejected from Sheridan. Yeah, I found out throughout my process. I was watching a lot of accepted and rejected videos, and both were very helpful because I kind of got an idea of how some people work and kind of how Sheridan was grading and like what they're looking for. The rejection videos were also very helpful because I got an idea of what to do and then what not to do. And I guess I'll be giving some advice and like what I did so that you wouldn't do it either for future applicants. Throughout this whole video, I'm going to be trying to give some of my progress, my experience with everything all together, and how I came to the result of my final grade. But if you have any questions, I will try to answer them to the best of my abilities, because I am no means a qualified person to be grading a portfolio, but these are just my opinions, so take everything I say with a grain of salt. Yeah, I was debating on filming this because rejection videos and letters aren't the best, but if it helps me during my process, hopefully it will help some of you guys as well watching this. I will be applying again next year, and within this time all the way up until next year, I will be putting a lot more effort than how I did for this last one, because I kind of left it until like 2 or 3 months before it was due, which isn't the greatest idea. I've seen other people start their portfolios a year in advance, which props to them, because I am not that motivated and I'm super lazy. But now I kind of learned from my mistakes, and I hope you learn from me as well to start it right away. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. So this is a score sheet for the animation program, and I ended up getting a 73 as a result. I believe the cutoff was around 87, 88, and then I saw a comment saying that it was 92 for international students. Every year, Sheridan requires applicants to do 2 1 to 3 minute poses and 2 5 to 20 minute poses. As easy as this may sound, it was actually something I left until the very end, and disclaimer, this ended up taking a huge toll on my grade. Please do not do what I did and leave this last minute. If anything, literally start right now while you can. Figure drawing is not something you can perfect overnight, and it's a skill that takes time and hundreds of tries to get better. Ironic, because even though I say this, it's still something that I put off to this day. Sheridan prefers applicants to practice on newsprint paper and Conte because this is a standard that is taught at the school, and also because Conte allows for more control and movement. Looking at my short poses, it lacks a lot of gesture and movement. Though I am proud of the second piece because the structure was recognizable, it's usually the angles that I start to tear away from and have difficulties with. For my longer poses, I try to focus more on form and volume because you have more time to examine muscles, joints, and the depth of the figure. Details matter for this, such as the hands, face, and the feet, because you're given more time to examine the figure, and by not completing these parts, it kind of shows that you're not really confident in your anatomy. My advice would be to start right away and to practice little by little each day, because a little can definitely go a long way and will save you in the long run. In accordance to the short poses, focus on your line of action and the movements of the figures. You're given a short amount of time for the short poses, so they're trying to look for the feel of the figure and the gestures, not the details. And then for the longer poses, definitely focus on form and volume. Pay attention to the time given to you and manage your work around that. Professors will be paying attention to the form of the muscles, the joints, and this is your chance to showcase your anatomy knowledge. I always have trouble with hand drawings because I've seen their grading and it doesn't really seem consistent to me for other portfolios. From my knowledge of other videos, it's important to focus on structure and showcase your construction lines. During the outline of the hand, show the anticipation of the action and then executing it, but also focus on the construction lines underneath. This means to simplify the hand into basic shapes and anatomy to showcase your knowledge of being able to break down parts of the hand. I guess where I lost marks was my construction lines, because I guess they just weren't clear enough. Yes, I did simplify the hand, but I'm not really showing my knowledge of its anatomy, which therefore provides that I'm not very confident in anatomy, the bones or joints. It's always good to go back and forth between your hand drawings because it'll help with your consistency and anything that's different from each drawing that you may need to fix later on. Definitely focus on construction lines and learn your hand anatomy because even on the basic structure and shape of the hand will aid you so much in the final result of your drawings. Okay, for this one, I'm not gonna lie, I was the least confident in this section. Initially, I thought about going into character design being super interesting, and it kind of fed into my idea of coming up with any character I want, but it wasn't until doing this section that kind of made me do a 180. I spent most of my time on this section because the ideas in my head were not really translating well digitally. This truly was the definition of never go with your first idea, because I had so much trouble with my original character, but I was too far into this to kind of scrap it. I saw many videos of people saying to get creative with your character, and I wanted to do an animal instead of a person. I decided to draw a capybara with its little traveling equipment, but this ended up getting scrapped because I wasn't knowledgeable in drawing animals at all, and I had a difficult time breaking down even the simple shapes, such as the rectangle for its head. I surprisingly did better than what I thought I would get because I was genuinely so worried about how boring my character would be. My next idea was to draw a student. I feel like the details of the buck teeth, glasses, books, and the clothing choice kind of express this character of it being a nerd well enough that it kind of earned me 12 out of 15 marks. For this section though, you really gotta get out of the mindset that the super detailed characters will earn the best marks. You need to think like an animator. If you're going to be animating the same character through hundreds of frames, you're going to want to make it easier for yourself. My advice is to simplify your character. You can still be creative. Heck, I'd say even be a good artist if you're able to be creative enough using only simple characteristics. So basically, keep your design to something simple, but add in characteristics that will help the audience recognize what it is that your character is known for. The successful ones are the simple shapes that are used effectively. Draw the little circle at the bottom of each drawing because it will help you in determining the direction of your rotation and where the feet should be pointing. Keep your lines clean and make sure everything is scaled to each other. I even rotated my character several times to nitpick and find any flaws. Ironic that I don't do animations too much even though I'm trying to apply into an animation program. This was my second attempt at an animation and this year's character sheet was a walkie-talkie. Following the 12 principles of animation is key to helping you succeed in this section, and luckily there are YouTube tutorials on these things that will help explain it better than myself. The video that helped me a lot is Alan Becker's video, and it was super helpful because he breaks down each principle and gives great examples and advice. Definitely focus on the squash and stretch part of the design. You can kind of see that at the very beginning when the figure is crouching, getting ready to jump, and then later stretching when it's going up in the air. This allows for impact and anticipation by allowing the design to have more volume and gravity of its surrounding area. My advice on this would be to study the 12 principles of animation because that is what they're looking for in the short 24 to 48 frames given to you. Focus on squash and stretch because this will allow for more impact and anticipation, which is key in animation because you're trying to tell a story. Also, be sure to scale your design, make sure the size is consistent all throughout because many people lose marks over this. If your character is running to the distance, make sure it's slowly getting smaller and pay attention to its perspective. Last but not least, don't forget to stay consistent with the character design sheet. Always refer back to it when needed and make sure that everything is accurate to the sheet because this is very easy to lose marks and I see many people have a low grade just because of something so simple. Storyboarding is very important in animation because it allows for others to get a clear view of your story in simple sketches. The easier it is to understand and tell a story in simple sketches, the more successful the storyboard will be. This is also graded harshly as well because I believe it's also worth the most marks. The character this year was a fox, and I believe the prompt was opportunities don't just happen, you create them. My storyboard showcases the fox in a gym setting with the last couple seconds of a basketball match. The teams are tied and he creates the opportunity to shoot the ball at the very last second. I got 15 out of 20, which is something I'm kind of proud of because I worked hard studying different angles, and considering it's only my second time storyboarding, 75% for Sheridan isn't too bad. I think I lost quite a bunch of marks because my expressions weren't exaggerated enough and my line quality could have been better, but other than that, I don't really know what else I could critique on. My advice is to say the 180 rule. This means having an invisible line drawn and the camera can move anywhere, but it just cannot pass over the other side of the line, otherwise this will cause confusion and alter perspectives. As for opinions about your storyboard, I found it super helpful to show people without any text and see if they're able to understand the story with just pictures. A successful storyboard is one where the audience can understand using pictures only rather than just relying on text. Lastly, use different angles. Never use the same angle because that will cost you several marks. You're given 4 panels only, so make the most out of them and don't waste it on the same angles. Try your best to communicate the story with just all the limited panels given to you. Every year, we're required to draw an interior and an exterior perspective with a character interacting within the environment. This could be fantasy or real places. I had the most fun with this because I enjoyed drawing different environments and experimenting with lighting. Though I'm proud of each piece, I'd say the exterior one was my favorite because I really like drawing nature and foliage. I guess where I lost marks was my line quality in the foreground, some of the tangent lines here and there, and perhaps not enough detail to tell a clear story. I'm not too bummed out about this because 80% is still pretty good, and I really like the results of my perspective layouts. I'd say my composition was good because I kept the rule of thirds consistent in both pieces, and my perspective wasn't too far off. Things in the background remain light and less detailed compared to things in the foreground. Some tips would be to have a basic understanding of perspective. Know that the closer something is to the screen, the more detailed and clear the line quality should be, and vice versa. Follow the rule of thirds. This is important in both film and art because it allows for an interesting shot of the subject. Don't have your subject to be in the dead center of the drawing. Instead, have it be to the further right or left side to create a good composition. Lastly, and this is just a bonus, try to tell a story through your perspective. Being able to convey a message or tell a story through one drawing will aid you significantly in getting some of those extra marks. It helps you to have a confident goal to work towards and will prove to professors that you are confident in storytelling as well. I knew I didn't score as high for this section because a lot of my personal work was more illustrative. Majority of my pieces were digital works, but I threw in a couple traditional ones throughout this section to show that I can work with different media. To be honest, I don't really remember the order in which I submitted these pieces, so this is all random. I don't know if your stronger pieces in the beginning and end and your weaker pieces in the middle will aid in the grading for this section, but I just kind of submitted it randomly and hope for the best. For some of these pieces, I'd say some of them are more older works and some are from school projects, which I strongly encourage you not to do because they want to see your creativity and recent interest. Here are some sketchbook works that were compiled as a PDF. I wanted to show that I could practice drawing different poses frequently and some studies of faces. I also wanted to show some pen and ink works because that's usually my style when it comes to traditional art. It rubs me the wrong way to have people grade your art and put a number on it because it's supposed to be your own personal art that you do for yourself. But then again, some of my pieces were from school assignments and I guess they just really want to see your interest, so I'm probably just salty that I got a low mark on it. Anyways, my advice would be to add at least one animation piece, whether it be a rough draft or not, because this is an animation program, so they want to see that you're experimenting with different animation programs and software. They only allow up to 5 to 7 pieces, so choose your strongest and most confident artworks. I guess put in some animal studies and life drawing sketches to show that you're actively practicing drawing from real life. I don't really have much to say for this because I don't really know what else they would look for. Congrats if you made it until the end of this video because I know it was a little longer than usual, but I guess my last words would be good luck next year if you are applying. Don't be too bummed out if you get rejected because rejection is a part of the success. So I will be trying again next year, and I guess the one good thing about this is that there will be more portfolio prep videos from now on, so look forward to that. And once again, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, I hope you have a great one.